What's up guys, Mischief Magus here. It's been about a week since I last made a video, and I wanted to make a couple. So, lately I've been kind of irritable. I don't really know why, but it's just like stuff pissing me off, just left and right. Hey, how you doing? Arr. Hey, you look really good. Arr. I don't know what's going on. But I thought about it, and it seemed that the Speaking with Saturn video was well received. So I'm going to make another video, but that's not going to be this one. This is going to be, I was reading a book called A Tiny Universe by Joy Usher. You can find this book on Amazon easily, and it's in ebook format. You can probably get it for about $5 if you have pocket change. And it is a very well written book. And it is, in my opinion, highly credible, because the stuff in it makes a lot of sense. And she seems very knowledgeable about what this is. So I was reading it while I was at the gym, and I stumbled upon this thing called Pre-Birth and the Chaldean Order. I wanted to read this to you because I am not a vat of knowledge. My books are, and the people that wrote them are. So I figured I'm not going to waste your time and say, oh, go buy this. I'm going to read it to you, like a father to their child, because I find it interesting, and I hope you will too. So this is called Pre-Birth in the Chaldean Order, the months of gestation when souls become manifest. It's a couple pages. It'll be a little long, but I should warn you now, the Speaking with Saturn is far shorter than the Speaking with Jupiter video that I have to make. And I am not looking forward to it. It's just so long. Like, oh, I've done the speakings with Jupiter, and it's just like, and so I believe, it's like, oh God. And you can't think that way. Like, it specifically says to devote yourself wholly and truly to the practice as you're doing it, which is very hard, but just bear in mind it's a little long. Anyway, I know I'm rambling. Pre-birth in the Chaldean Order. The months of gestation when souls become manifest. This is, it's a little, it talks a little bit about some of the stuff in the beginning, but I'm going to try and skip ahead, blah, 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 blah. So, there's this guy named Omar of Tiberias from the late 8th century. And he's believed to have translated the 1st century works of Hellenistic astrologer Dorotheus of Sidon into Arabic text. Dorotheus, I think, is one of the older traditional astrologers. Not like back then, he was like, yeah, I'm a traditional astrologer. He was just an astrologer. So, for this reason, Omar demonstrated early Hellenistic concepts and their influence on Arabic-era astrology. He talks about some other stuff in here, and I want to get down to the meat of it. Omar lists in this each planet's involvement with the developing fetus chronologically, beginning from the embryo, and noting Saturn's involvement in this at the earliest of life stages. And it goes on to say why. When the seed falls into the vulva in the 1st month, it happens in the disposition of Saturn, and he disposes of the native by means of cold. Omar looks at the 9 months of incubation and dedicates a planet to each month in the Chaldean order, from Saturn at germination to the moon at the 7th month, and then returns to Saturn and Jupiter and their engagement in the final 2 months of pregnancy. Now, why is this? Why wouldn't you say, well, it just goes to the other outer planets? Oh my God, I hate the outer planets. Don't use them. I don't want to hear anything about, but the outer planets, don't do it. If you want to learn, yeah, I'll tell you what. If you want to learn fake, stupid astrology, go to any of the other billions of astrologer. Hi, welcome to this video. Shut the fuck up. Ugh, just watch my stuff and learn. Alright, going back to it. The reoccurrence of Saturn and Jupiter's participation in the 8th and 9th month. Yeah, in the 8th and 9th month allows for the 7 planets to adequately cover the full 9 months of gestation. Again, I don't know why they did this, but they're far smarter than I am, and I'm going to take their word for it. Italian mathematician, astronomer, and astrologer Guido Bonatti, from 1210 to 1296, was the most celebrated astrologer of the 13th century. Bonatti adopts Omar's ideas when connecting the Chaldean order with conception and fetal growth. Saturn, he says, is in the first cycle of the planets, and is the first planet in the order of these, and the one which all of the others follow. And he is also the first planet which engages in its own working upon the one who had been conceived after the fall of the seed into the womb, binding together and assembling the matter from which is formed the one who has been conceived. Sounds a lot like Saturn, doesn't it?
It's the foundations. Ooh.
It's... When I say it's everything, it's everything. Now, again, I take pot shots at modern astrologers because, number one, it's wrong, and number two, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you can do the Sigmund Freud bullshit, but it's not Sigmund Freud floating up in the heavens. It's the fucking planets. And at this point, they should be considered gods. So, Bonatti is far more detailed in his explanations as he continues to explain that although the fixed stars on the highest prime mover's sphere, which is beyond Saturn and into the actual heavens, where we are not allowed to go, are the principal agents of the soul's movement. They are not experienced manifestly in these matters, and therefore are not directly involved in the process of the soul's incarnation. Rather, this responsibility falls solely to the planets beginning at the seventh sphere of Saturn and continuing by the operations of the planets themselves in their role as secondary agents under the supervision of the unmoved mover, aka God. Returning to the order which began with Saturn, Omar says that in the second month, Jupiter projects the spirit into the native and disposes of him with a certain tempered quality, while Bonatti says that as Jupiter is the second planet, its role in the second month of gestation is to allot spirit and life, according to its own workings, and on a practical level to provide warmth and humidity for one who has been conceived following Saturn's month. Warmth and humidity being because traditionally Jupiter is known as the temperate planet, because he is hot and moist. And that is the air temperament, or sanguine. It's the better temperament, because it promotes life. Because it's heat, hot and moist. Maybe we'll cover those some other day. Omar's texts state that the third month belonged to Mars, when life-giving blood strengthens the developing embryo. Bonatti echoes this sentiment by saying that Mars, as the third planet in the Chaldean order, is responsible for engaging in the growth process by enriching the blood and reddening it according to Mars's own red nature. In the astrological model, the first trimester of pregnancy is governed by the three superior planets, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars. The term superior refers to their position above the sun in the higher realms of heaven. It is noteworthy that even with today's medical advancements, the first 3 months are still considered to be the most dangerous for the unborn child, so much so that the embryo is not technically regarded as a fetus until the completion of the first trimester. The fourth month belongs to the sun, and Omar says that God breathes into the native the breath of life, that is, the animating principle. In Omar's model, it is the sun's responsibility, in its sole role as the central figure in the Chaldean order, being in the middle of the superior planets and the inferior planets, to determine whether the soul will continue to descend, as at this point the sun's spirit enters the tiny body and animates the native's soul. Before I continue, I just want to kind of lay a little bit of groundwork. This is how they saw it. This is how they saw astrology. Not some bumblefuck Sigmund Freud, this is your personality. Shut the fuck up. It's your life. It's your fortune. It's your friends. It's your family. It's your body size. It's your weight. It's your spirit. It's your pimples on your face. It's that hemorrhoid on your ass. It's everything. And apparently nobody else wants to talk about it like that. Moving on. Yes, Omar explains the turning point for the soul's embodiment is analogous with the sun animating the seasons and breathing life into the signs as it passes through each one over the course of the year. Bonatti confirms the continuance of this belief, saying that the sun is the fourth planet from Saturn following the order of the planets, and that the sun engages in its own working on one who has been conceived by facilitating the growth of the fetus in the womb. He says, through natural heat or its like, by giving spirit and functional organs to the one conceived, vital soul, and the lines of the face. After the sun's month, Omar says that the fifth month belongs to Venus, and during this month God prepares the male or female sex in the native. Notice how there's no gender-fluid, bicorporeal, helicopter attack panda for all those who talk about the 15 billion genders that we now have. And yes, I guess if you want to say I am a little conservative about that because there are only two genders. You can kick and scream all you want, but I didn't make up the rules. What? Why you gotta make it so complicated? Anyway, the risk of saying anything else that might piss you off. I'm sure you're already pissed off already, but okay, that's fine. We'll be pissed off together. Anyway, where was I at? Oh yes. Prepares the female and male sex in native. While Bonatti comments that Venus is the fifth planet which engages in its own working on one who has been conceived, namely by finishing the sex of a man or a woman, whichever the sex of the one conceived should be, and by finishing for the native the nose, the eyebrows, and the entire arrangement of the face. Omar follows Venus's time with the sixth month dedicated to Mercury, whose task it is to bestow upon the unborn child with the physical attributes to develop language once birth has been occurred. Unfortunately, Bonatti's text on these planets' involvement with the unborn child is incomplete. So I guess Bonatti didn't write a lot about Mercury. His text is more concerned with the other planets' influence on Mercury and the Moon, rather than their place in the development of the fetus during the latter months of pregnancy. Omar, on the other hand, continues through the full 9 months, with the planet's involvement, saying that during the 7th month, the Moon sets things in order, the native image is completed, and should birth occur during the Moon's month, it is likely that the native child will survive the birth, which is great. However, if the infant is born in the 8th month belonging to Saturn, Omar warns the disposition of Saturn may cause disaster, and the native will die if born in that month. I don't know how true that is, but I imagine they're much smarter than I am, so I'm going to listen to them. You can call that ignorant if you want, but I think part of being smart is knowing who to listen to. The text finishes with a note on the final month whereby the disposition reverts to Jupiter, with the natural significator for children in general, and the perfect overseer for a successful birth. And Omar says that the native will live if God wills. Oh shit. This is I'm going to show this to you. I don't know if you can read it. You can pause it if you want, and I don't really know if you'll be able to. I bet it's backwards, knowing my luck. It's fucking backwards, isn't it? Oh well. Either way, it's the Chaldean order and gestation. They compare Omar and Guido Bonatti. Too long didn't watch. Saturn, seed falls into the vulva. Jupiter, the Lord projects spirit, gives tempered qualities. Mars, blood is made. God breathes into the native the breath of life, the animating principle for the sun. Venus, God prepares the male or female sex. Language is affected by Mercury. And in the moon, the native's image is completed. If birth occurs, the native will come out alive. Oh, thank God. Those are each of the planets for the months. And then it goes back to, of course, Saturn and Jupiter. So, I just wanted to share that with you because I thought it was interesting. And, yeah, gives a more concrete idea of, it's not just like, oh, it's my stepmom, oh, it's my mom, oh, it's my dad. I mean, that's a step up. But it's literally like every hour of every day is ruled by one of these guys. It's real stuff. And, I mean, I hope you like it, or rather, I hope you take it seriously. Or you can go on some poppy idiot astrologer's page who can claim to know a lot And they probably do know a lot. But they're probably not correct. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm correct. I'm just saying I think that I think I've found the correct way to do it. Thanks to my friend and thanks to books like this. All right, Jupiter next.